Hello, everybody. So today we're doing a Minecraft tier list of the best Minecraft updates and, well, the worst to best, 1.1 to 1.20. Unfortunately, I forgot 1.8, which, if you are wondering, is the Bountiful update, which added ocean monuments and slime blocks. And I'm pretty sure I forgot that. I'm looking, I don't see it. Well, maybe it's on there. We'll check. We'll find out. We're gonna start off with 1.1, which added spawn eggs, wherever it's at. 1.1, where is it? Yeah, guess we're not starting with it because I can't find it. Let's start off with Caves and Cliffs. And Caves and Cliffs is update 1. Hold on. I think it's 1.19. No, that's the wild update. It's 1.18. This is part 2 of it, so it's 1.18. And honestly, for me, this update, it increased world generation and made it much better. I think it's an S tier update. It is probably the best update we've had in a while. If they didn't drop this banger right here, which is the Nether update. Where's that at? Hello? I know I didn't forget it. I made this tier list, by the way. You're welcome. Come on. Can't find anything. I guess we'll just do 1.17 then. Just Caves and Cliffs. This one added new cave blocks and mobs. It added like lush caves and some cave mobs. I think it's an A tier. It's not quite as good as 1.18, but it still was a good update. Definitely better than some of the updates before it. Like 1.15 in my opinion, because 1.15 was the bees and bug fixes is what it was called. So this update, in my opinion, it's okay. It's not an A tier just because it's only adding bees and honey blocks and fixing some bugs, but it didn't do anything other than that. Just because, I don't know, like bees, they're cool, but it's such a small update to have an entire update dedicated to itself. But I guess it's important, or a good addition to the game. It's not negative anyway, so it doesn't deserve to be below B tier, especially because it is a B, so B tier is perfect. Then we have, what is this, the aquatic update? So the aquatic update was update 1.13, which added dolphins, coral, kelp, seagrass, turtles, whatnot. Cool update in my opinion. I do like this update. Unfortunately, it was also the update that had phantoms. So instead of it being an A tier or maybe even S tier because of this like entire ocean overall, it's put in B tier just because of phantoms. Probably the worst mob that has ever been added to a game ever. They're the most annoying abomination to ever exist. So this thing sits in B tier. Just like the World of Color update. Actually, no, it's gonna be above World of Color because World of Color added a lot of colorful blocks like terracottas, whatnot. Concretes. I'm pretty sure colored concretes, and it added parrots. But that's not really beneficial to the game. It didn't add to the world. Just added to, I don't know, more of the creative menu, because I don't really know anybody who uses terracotta or whatnot. Not a very important update, not a very big update, especially at a time like where 1.12 came out. But 1.11, which was the Woodlands and Mansions update, I'd say is arguably worse. Lower in C tier, it added woodland mansions and whatnot, which is cool. It added shulker boxes, which are very important, but it just doesn't have that same oomph as the rest of these updates. I guess like this B update doesn't have the oomph, but like the aquatic update added a huge thing to the world. Like everywhere you go, every single ocean has been improved by this update. Caves and Cliffs, every single cave is improved. And Caves and Cliffs Part 2, the entire world is improved, which is why it's an S tier update. Then we have, I can't see what that says. I can't even read that. That looks like 1.19. I think I see the word in there, which I'd say is an A tier update. Like the deep dark, the warden and whatnot. Which what exactly it added? It added the deep dark and mangrove swamps. So I guess that's not really that huge of an update. But the deep dark added a new thing that even endgame players could be afraid of, because it could like two-shot you in full protection for netherite armor. So I think it was a good update because it adds something past like the Ender Dragon. Because in my personal experience playing Minecraft, I could just, like, after I beat the game, you know, you need elytras and shulker boxes to do a lot of things. Once I beat the Ender Dragon, it felt like there was nothing left. And it felt like there was really no point playing. And having the Warden is just kind of like a non-existent really goal to strive for that just lets me do these other things without them feeling meaningless. So I think it deserves A tier because it definitely added to the game for me, even though the Warden wasn't directly, doesn't like give you anything. That makes sense. Like he doesn't have any good loot or anything. That wasn't the point. The point was that there was something above you on the food chain, which makes the game when you're later on more entertaining for me, at least. We have 1.7. So 1.7, it added, what did it add? It added some new biomes and world generation, which obviously is outdated at this point, but I think it deserves A tier, just because adding new biomes is always really cool. And if it improves the original world generation, that is huge, because it used to be absolutely terrible, at least pre 1.7. And 1.7 post 1.7 wasn't great either, but I still think that is a very good update. Yeah, so I don't know if it's quite A tier. It might be more of a B tier update, kind of in between here. I'll give it high B tier. I don't think it deserves A tier. I don't think it's on the same caliber as the rest, but it's definitely better than this update. The combat update's D tier. It literally was more negative than anything. People quit the game because of this update, and most servers, actually, Minecraft servers, stayed at 1.8 because they didn't want this combat update. I think it was objectively a downgrade, kind of like the trash tier, It's not good. It did nothing beneficial for the game, so it definitely deserves this bottom stinky doo-doo tier. But this one doesn't. This is 14.4, I'm pretty sure, which in 14.4, they added overhaul the villages, new textures, and bamboo forests. Pretty good update. I'll give it A tier. Like, villagers actually became useful after this, instead of just being something that you robbed every time you saw it. If you find a librarian, you get a mending villager, it's huge. Like, villagers actually had a point and became a major staple of the game after this update, so this one was definitely huge. A tier, made them way more useful in my opinion. Definitely a very good update. And then we have 1.10 following it. This update's another D tier in my opinion. All it added was polar bears and magma blocks. So if you follow the combat update up with Frostburn, polar bears, and magma blocks, that is so lame. That is like a year stretch where Minecraft is just getting objectively worse or staying neutral, and just nothing good at it. And this is like just after Microsoft bought it. This is their first two updates, and they were trash. No surprise there, but definitely some of my least favorite updates, probably some of the worst. Then we have 1.4. This update was an absolute banger. It added withers, anvils, and command blocks, and that automatically it deserves A tier, because withers having beacons is huge, and anvils are so important. Like, you can't not have an anvil. They're super important. They're a little bit expensive early on, but they are one of the most important blocks in the game, alongside enchantment table, whatnot. In my opinion, they're arguably more important because you can't get God Armor without them. They're definitely an A tier update. Very, very beneficial for the game and for, overall Minecraft. So deserving of A tier. Now I don't know what update this is. It's orange. I guess I'll get that one last. I'll do process of elimination. This is another update right here. Is the one on the far right. Again, it's like kind of cut off. It's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure the Nether update was checking right now. It was update 1.16. This is an S tier update. It made the Nether go from this gross place that you didn't want to spend more than 20 minutes in to a place you could actually kind of explore, and it just made the game have like another dimension, and that's in quotes because literally it's another dimension that it already did exist, but it added so much more to the game because it completely overhauled the Nether from looking like this gross, pretty much only netherrack and sometimes a fortress, to a place that actually looked pretty cool, and it added piglin bartering, which is huge for speedruns and whatnot, so definitely an S tier update in my opinion. Then 1.6, what did 1.6 add? So, scroll here, 1.6 added horses. C tier update, just horses is kind of boring. Like, nothing else. By the time, usually, when you get a saddle, you already have better methods of transportation. And, like, if you're anything like me, having a horse is more of a liability because you have to worry about that horse and you don't want it to die. You build a stable, which can look cool, but it's like, it's useful for such a small portion of the game. By the time I usually find a horse, I already have an elytra. There's no point in having a horse. But I do still think they're cool, and breeding horses for a god horse is pretty awesome. It's just like kind of like having dogs. So it is a nice update, but it's not huge. Doesn't compare to the rest of these that are above it, in my opinion. It's like, is this 1.12? 1.12, this update. That's not 1.12. What is that? Is that 1.2? It is so hard to tell. It like squished these images down so much. Yeah, okay. So this added jungles and iron golems. I guess I'll give it B tier because jungles are cool. Nice biome. Jungle wood's pretty ugly, but iron golems are pretty awesome. You know, they're necessary for iron farms. One of the first farms I always build in my worlds. So I'll give it B tier. Definitely more of an impactful update than I'd say like 1.12 or anything below it. I don't think it deserves to be in the same tier as these three or either of these two. But iron golems were pretty huge. It's a very cool mob. Probably the strongest passive mob. Or neutral mob, I should say. Definitely a W update in my opinion. And then here are the three remaining that I have no clue what they are. I'm assuming this is update 1.3 just based on process of elimination, which is trading in temples, allowing you to trade with villagers and adding desert temples. I'm going to give it C tier because even though it did add villagers and temples, they still, like, a temple still needs a rework. It's so terrible. Like, nobody actually goes to temples anymore, really. Like, you can hope to find maybe like 2 diamonds, so it's barely worth going to. They're just kind of cool to see because they're rare. And it added villagers, but villagers were so useless, in the beginning, that this update, it's just nothing. I mean, it was monumental for Minecraft at the time, I'm sure. Adding a human-like NPC. But not worthy of B tier or anything higher. And we have the redstone update. This was actually update, I think it was update 1.5. This was, pretty sure it was update 1.5, which added redstone components and quartz, which is huge. Honestly, I'm divided between B tier and A tier because redstone is so huge in the game, so important for so many things like making automatic farms. But I have to give it A tier. It's just such an important update. It added so much to the game. Like, you can't make pretty much any farms without redstone and pistons and whatnot. So, probably one of the most impacting updates, especially for the future. Like, redstone is a huge part of the game. Without this update, there is no mumbo jumbo. So, keep that there. And this last one, I have no clue what this last one is. We're just going to say that it's, we'll say it's 1.1, which added spawn eggs, and that's it. Probably D tier. But it was the first update, so maybe boost it up a little bit just because it was the first update. They didn't know where they wanted to go yet. It was just more of a thing to like solidify the creative mode as being more than survival, other than just being invincible and able to fly. So yeah, but that concludes this tier list. Peace out.